Hello, and welcome to PTC Cast episode 42. Today, Chris and I go a little bit into pre-workout supplementation, pre-workout nutrition, and post-workout nutrition. We also answer a question at the end. We hope that you enjoy the show. It's brought to you by ProgressThroughChange.com, where you can get your 4 easy habits for fat loss guide. You can get a free chest training guide. You can get a sample food list. We got tons of stuff for you over there. Go to ProgressThroughChange.com. I promise you won't be disappointed. Enjoy the show. So you're training again. You look like The Rock. That's what everybody always tells me, by the way.
What?
Like my clients and people in the gym who like watch the podcast but haven't met you, they're like, that dude looks like The Rock.
You should see me with the bald head. Yeah.
No, man, I get the bald head.
Oh, come on.
You got to keep your hair.
That chair is filled.
That's my, I was going to say, that's
Hey,
my
don't be
my
stepping on my
signature.
toes,
Yeah,
man.
that's my signature.
Yeah. I'm going to switch out the co-host. You shave your head.
That's the signature, yeah. You know what? If I was smart, I would just get a co-host that's smaller than me.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Ain't happening.
That's why I just wear real tight shirts whenever you're here.
What you should do is just start sneaking in like laxatives every time I come over, so that I can, just slowly drop.
I'm gonna just
weight.
start scooting my chair closer to the camera.
Out angling me.
So eventually I'm like 2 feet closer.
That's a good idea.
If I do like 2 inches every week, you won't notice. But no, okay. So you're lifting again. What's the split? What's the goal? How do you feel about it?
I actually feel really, really good about it. So, I don't know if I told you, but I decided that I was like, done with powerlifting. So I don't have like any ambitions at all with powerlifting. I don't have like, that's literally behind me. So right now I'm lifting. At first it was for the sake of, being healthy and stuff, but I'm having fun with it again. Yeah. So my split is legs on Mondays, bench on Tuesdays, and then I do upper back on either Wednesdays or Thursdays, and that's it. Okay. Yeah, and then
are you just kind of like throwing in like arms and shoulders and stuff like that? Or are you just kind of winging it with things like that?
Yeah, so on bench day, that's when I'll do like, my triceps, shoulders, things like, I guess, the front part of my upper body besides biceps. And then on back day, I'll do like, all of the rear side of my upper body. So you're basically doing
push-pull legs?
Yeah, pretty much. And I actually stopped doing bench press. And it was after our last podcast. Like I was like, you know what? Alex is right. Like I don't really like bench press. I like doing the machines.
Everybody's just going to think I just have it out for bench press. Yeah.
But, and then I also stopped squatting. And
also an overrated movement.
Also,
back squat,
yeah. I've had so much pain just from barbell back squatting. So I switched to, I think it was a hack squat. I think it's called. And that's been really good. Like
that's awesome.
I was able to push myself. Yeah. When like in squats, probably because how strong I was. If I'm doing like 405, I don't like it because it's not any type of accomplishment for me. And so what'll happen is I'll raise the weight. Yeah. And then I'll end up only doing a couple reps with weight that I shouldn't be doing. Yeah. So with the hack squat, I'm able to do like 8 to 10 reps instead of me getting excited and then doing only like 4 or 2 reps on squats.
So it's just like it's the same conversation that we've had about like you exploring mountain biking, right? Or even when you were dirt biking a little bit, like it's just, you've just kind of restructured it. So you're kind of reinvigorated and you're like, now you have something else to push on or to challenge or to progress. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's because even though it's lifting weights, like, I'm going to use the phrase bodybuilding because sure, that's what you're doing now. Yeah. When you're lifting weights to change your physique, you're bodybuilding. But anyways, so like now that you're doing that and you're not so concerned with like just upping numbers, it gives you a whole new perspective. And then you switch your exercise selection around and now it's like totally different. Like the times that I'm most excited in the gym is when I give myself some freedom as far as exercise selection goes, because like, personally, I like to have like a pretty solid like meat and potatoes, like 80%. I'm kind of doing the same things over and over, trying to progress them. But I have so much fun just like letting myself throw in different exercise variations. And like I don't make things up because I'm picky about exercises. But like sometimes I almost look at it. An art form would be a corny way to put it, but like I like to like pull and poke things around, and maybe I'm doing triceps here with this exercise, or doing biceps here with this exercise. You know what I mean? So. It's just a whole different approach, but you get to be in the same environment and you get to have that physical challenge in a similar way.
Yeah, and whenever you're doing that and, you're feeling more excited and, having more fun, you're going to put in a lot more effort into, each set.
Yeah.
And that's what I started noticing is, man, I don't know if it's, from that, I guess, like me getting more excited and me having fun with training again, but I've been putting in a lot of effort into my lifting, and it feels so good, man.
Yeah.
Like, so I started doing that at, like 5:30 a.m.
Sure.
like I told you last week, and it starts my day off so freaking amazing, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just ready to kick ass for the rest of the day, and it's because I'm actually having fun with my training now. It's no longer, a job or something like that.
Yeah, and I might sound a little hypocritical here just because I'm always talking about, like, skill acquisition and repetition and mastering movements, but there's a truthfully underrated and underappreciated factor of novelty.
Yeah.
Like, there's when it's fun or when it's enjoyable or when it's, and that's not to say it's not when you're logbooking and doing the same things every week, but like sometimes it's just that exercise out of left field that, is not normal for you. Like, I bet, like you said, hack squats. Like, I bet hack squats are fun for you because you're a very, like, glute, ham, and adductor back squatter.
Yeah.
So now that you're doing hack squats, which is just going to be basically quads only, it's like, I'm going to say, like, exposes your weaknesses, but it's just not something that you've, like, directed specific effort towards. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So you're able to, like, explore that new territory and test your limits.
Right.
I think when I first did it, I only had like 2 plates on it, and I'm not gonna lie, man, I was suffering with 2 plates.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
it's humbling.
Yeah, I kept on upping the weight, and I ended up with 585 on. Like, it was hard. I think I only got like 6 reps on it, but it felt good, man.
Yeah.
Because the novelty of it and me finding that new boundary.
Yeah.
So. The 6 reps was just for fun, by the way. All of the sets before, it was like 8 to 10 reps.
Sure.
So, and then
there's always going to be that inner meathead, man. You're always going to want to push it and try to go a
man.
little heavier. You know what I mean? But go on.
Yeah, on my accessory lifts, I do like 15 to 20 reps. So I keep those, very suffering oriented.
Yeah, pump oriented.
Yeah, exactly, pump oriented, and I do 5 sets of that. And my rest times have like decreased to about 60 seconds
for like your pump work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. What I really want to do, our lease is up at the end of September, and we're going to be moving somewhere like around the Frisco area.
Okay.
I want to find a CrossFit gym.
Okay. So you're really trying to get your ass kicked.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like, I just think, if my mornings are starting off great with, these weightlifting style exercises because of the amount of effort that I'm putting into them. If I was to do CrossFit exercises, this is like blasphemy for everybody watching. They're like, what the hell?
Unsubscribe.
Yeah. Dislike. It would be a huge addition to my day, So
that's awesome, man.
Just all of the work that I'd be able to put in,
Yeah.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah. So to kind of segue a little bit into what I wanted to get in today, which is pre and post workout nutrition, have you changed the way you're eating at all around that training?
Yeah. So when I was powerlifting, it was kind of a anything and everything idea with, some boundaries.
Like basically just calories.
Focused around, I guess, carbs and fats.
Okay.
Pre-workout, and then post-workout was just carbs and protein. But yeah, like when I was a powerlifter, I would, have a big thing of pancakes, syrup, peanut butter on the pancakes, and jelly. So like, a good amount of fat, a good amount of carbs, and it was probably a total of like 125 carbs and like 30 grams of fat before my workout, and I loved doing that. And then during my workout, I would have 50 to 100 grams of carbs depending on the day. So if it was like a very intense day, then it would be 100 grams.
Yep.
If it was just still intense but not as intense, it would be 50. And then post workout, I'd have another 100 grams with like 50 grams of protein. So that could be, a protein shake with honey and, more waffles with syrup, something like that. But now, because I'm not nearly, expending or needing the amount of calories that, I was taking back then. My pre-workout is, 2 Fig Newton bars with a little bit of peanut butter and some pre-workout.
So kind of similar, just scaled back.
Exactly. Yeah. Scaled back. And then for my intro workout, I don't really do intro workout anymore. I definitely should, but I guess I'm not training as intense to where I would see the difference. And then post workout, it's really just protein powder and a lot less carbs. So yeah, man, just scaled back.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome, man. For me personally, I work out like first thing in the morning, fasted on an empty stomach. So what I like to do just to ensure that I'm growing and I'm being as optimal as I can be through all that. Recently I've been doing a liquid IV, which is literally just the little powder packets that are.
Every time you say that, I think of
you think I'm like shooting out something. Like, no, man. But no, it's just like a little packet that has like, whatever, some sugar, some
sodium,
some electrolytes. Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, you don't even have to go with like the brand thing. I think it was Stan Efferding priced it out, and you can make your own for like 30 cents a serving or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But I just go with the packets because I like
convenient, and they probably taste good.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, there's value there in convenience. Oh yeah. But anyways, so I'll usually mix that with essential amino acids. I'll do 10 grams of that. I'll also do 10 grams of glutamine, and I'll do 5 grams of creatine, which is basically just my riff off of Milos Sarchev's intro workout shake. And the reason that I do that is so there's already amino acids going through the bloodstream while I'm training, because again, I'm on an empty stomach, so I want to be sure that I'm properly having nutrients coming in.
Yeah.
As far as post-workout goes, I typically go 0 fats, and I just go chicken and rice. Reason being, it's the easiest thing for me to digest, and it's the easiest way for me to get protein and carbs in post. So I actually try to keep my fats away from my training, just because personally they take a lot longer for me to digest, and my body doesn't handle them quite as well. I've had a gallbladder surgery and all that, so my body doesn't do great with fat. So I try to actually keep them away from the workout. But that's kind of my approach, being someone who's trying to build as much tissue as possible. But I think that those rules kind of stay true whether you're trying to lose fat or build tissue or whatever. Maybe if you're trying to lose fat, you don't need the liquid IV because it is a little bit of carbs. But, in my opinion, your goals, regardless of if it is to build tissue, if it's to lose fat, if it's to build strength, whatever it is, you should be training centric. So you should be looking at that nutrition as fueling training. So to me, even if you're somebody who's dieting like crazy and you got 100 grams of carbs a day, you got to use those carbs around your training, whether that's post or pre, whatever you prefer. I don't really know too much about pre or how much I buy into like pre-workout carbohydrates, but I definitely believe in post-workout going pretty heavy on your carbs, at least 50 grams in my opinion.
When it comes to intro workout, you were saying that maybe people who are trying to lose fat, they shouldn't take it. Personally, what I've found out is with intro workout, you may be getting those extra carbs, but you're able to push a lot more. Like you get a pretty significant second wind if you're actually training hard enough to need those extra. That extra fuel in the middle of your workout. And
that's a fair point, because honestly, I mentioned the liquid IV and the carbs in that I literally think are like 5 or 10 grams or something.
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Like it's pretty minuscule, but go on, sorry.
No, you're good. And then, dude, when it comes to my pre-workout, I will say pre and intra, if I'm having a good amount of carbs, there's a significant improvement in my performance if I'm lifting heavy. But if I'm not, then for the pre-workout, I haven't really found, I guess, a huge benefit for it because, if you're not lifting heavy, you're almost always able to push through, whatever you're doing. So I agree with you on that. Just, maybe if you're lifting heavy, you'll definitely need to utilize those pre-workout carbs.
I think there's some standard kind of like, I'll use air quotes, like rules across the board, but I definitely think like it's a pretty case specific thing. Like,
yeah,
I'm not necessarily like against eating pre-workout, but like I start my training like 45 minutes after I wake up.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just like I like to get up and get to it. But once in a blue moon, maybe I will have a free 2 hours in my day. Maybe I have a couple client cancellations or something like that, and so I'll decide to train then. And then at that point, I have whatever 2-3 meals in me, and I personally notice zero difference in the way that I feel.
Gotcha.
So, and that's if I were to have like some bad meals that day, if anything, it would actually slow me down.
Yeah.
But so I think that's just more of a personal thing. I have some clients who like prefer to work on an empty stomach, even though it's like 11 a.m. And I'm just not gonna grill them on that because it might not be like 100% optimal, but to me, there's so much value in the way you feel going into it and what works best for you personally. So like, I got a kid that I train at 10:30 a.m. On Tuesday, Wednesday. And his stomach, man, like does not handle food well first thing in the morning. So usually what he'll do is he'll either go empty stomach, or if he wakes up early enough, he'll go like a banana and that's it. And I really don't think there's any problem with that. Again, it might not be like optimal to be Mr. Olympia or something like that, but to me, the golden rule of all of this is always going to be adherence. So it's like what works, feels best, and is for you specifically,
Yeah, I wonder if it's just what you usually do, because I mean, I said what I said before about it being optimal for heavy weights, but then I think of this dude named Skylar Brandt. He used to work out first thing in the morning, on an empty stomach, and shit, he was strong as an ox. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it's just what you usually do, because I'm sure that if you've been doing one way for a long time, then you're going to adapt to it, and you're definitely going to feel better than if you were to switch it up to what's optimal, or whatever
that might not be best for you.
Exactly. Then you can go into a workout maybe feeling like sluggish,
right?
Or however you usually feel after eating a meal. Okay. Yeah.
And that might not even be like it might be just like you said, what you're used to, or your genetics, or your routine, or whatever. I've always preferred lifting like first thing in the morning. My first job in a gym was opening up the small gym that we used to work at Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I was there at 5 a.m. and I would work out from 5 to 6. So I feel best first thing in the morning, and when I'm just kind of rolling out of bed and getting to it, I don't want to stop for food. And I've also found that unless I'm like very specific with my food, it might even slow me down. Like I said, like if I'm going too heavy on the fats, or if I, mess around and go eat out or do something like that before a workout, like that's going to slow me down, if anything.
Do you take pre-workout?
Black coffee, baby.
Oh,
that's all we got. Yeah, I used to be the pre-workout guy, man. When I was 16, I was pounding like 2 scoops of C4, and exactly, man. I feel like beta alanine, like I got bugs under my skin, my face is itching, and I'm like tweaking a little bit. But nah, man. Like, and I've even tried like some of the non-stim ones that are just whatever, for blood flow, for focus, and I don't know, man. Like maybe they make a difference. Maybe they're placebo. I don't know. But for me personally, like I feel great on a cup of black coffee, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you had mentioned to me earlier before we started this that you were doing just a little bit of pre-workout.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if I should stop, man. I don't know if it's that or the coffee, but yeah, ever since that I've been doing that, I've been slowly getting tired throughout the day.
Yeah,
and it's weird. Like, I went probably like more than half a year not drinking coffee, not having any pre-workout, not like no stimulants or something to, keep me up throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And at first it was miserable. I was tired quite a bit. But after a while, I had a steady stream of energy from morning to night, and I wouldn't feel tired until it was time to go to bed. And now, I started taking, and it's barely like any pre-workout, man. I take maybe a quarter of a scoop of pre-workout, and I just started mixing pre-workouts, Mr. Hyde and Redcon's War something.
Total War.
Yeah, Total War.
Yeah, once I got off of C4, I used Total War for a couple years,
Yeah, the Total War, I feel like a lot more stimulated with that. So maybe I'll take like a fifth of a scoop of that, and then a quarter scoop of the Mr. Hyde, and that works pretty good. I'm not feeling like jittery or on edge after my workout. So
is Mr. Hyde the one that they had to like change the formula because it got like banned in America or something like that?
I miss the old Mr. Hyde. So the old Mr. Hyde, and it's funny you say that because I used to love the old Mr. Hyde, and then over the years I noticed that I wouldn't get the same feeling that I had with the old one, and finally I looked at the ingredients, and sure enough, the new one doesn't have octopamine and phenylene HCl, I think it was. Yeah. It was those two ingredients.
I don't know anything about those.
They're adrenaline inducers.
This kind of sounds like fentanyl.
yeah, they're methamphetamine. I believe it's what methamphetamine breaks down into, or something like that. But it's also found in it's found in meth. It's found in Adderall. It's found in the DMAA, which was in like the original Jack 3D. Yeah. So that Mr. Hyde was absolutely bomb. They don't have that anymore.
Not recommended here.
Yeah, with that being said,
at your own risk.
Yeah, with that being said, do not go out and find pre-workouts with DMAA or whatever and think that you should try it out.
Yeah.
I remember the last time that I had, it was only a scoop of, I don't remember the workout or the pre-workout name, but it was only one scoop of it. Dude, I thought I was gonna die.
That's
like
crazy.
And
you're a big guy too.
Yeah, at the time I was, I think 240. I was like 247, and I was peaking for a powerlifting meet. Wow. Like really strong. I was deadlifting like 8. Then I was squatting 8 something, and then benching over 475. So I was used, and like a lot of pre-workout. So I was used to like the stimulants and all of that stuff. Man, when I say that I thought I was gonna have a heart attack, it's crazy. Like I'm dead serious. And the amazing part was, you talk about, or you hear people talk about like flipping a switch.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You could turn it on
instantly. Like I was seeing people say you see red. I saw white. Yeah, like everything just went.
You were
white,
seeing the
man.
pearly gates, bro.
Maybe that's what it was.
You were seeing God.
Yeah, man. And like your heart rate would, be pretty high, but as soon as you flip that switch, it would jump up. In my case, it would jump up to like seriously 180, bro. Yeah. And it would not come down until like 5 minutes after your set. Yeah. And it's scary. It's awesome, but it's scary.
It's also just exhausting.
Very exhausting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've dabbled with the same type of BS and never anything that extreme. But back in the day, my poor relationship with caffeine when I was working at Starbucks, I think I was like a junior in high school. So this is around the time I'm prepping for my first show. My routine was like a cup of black coffee in the morning and then a pre-workout. So we're talking about like 300 mgs of caffeine before like 5:30 a.m. or before 5 a.m. And then I would have a Monster Energy at school. And then I would go to Starbucks and I'd have a quad espresso to start my shift. And then I'd have a green tea halfway through my shift. So there was a time.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah, dude, there was a time in my life where I was doing like a gram of caffeine a day, and to be honest, I'm not sure if body weight makes that big of a difference. But I was like $1.60, $1.55.
What the heck?
Like so, yeah, man. I mean, I was tweaking, but yeah. So I don't know if that's the reason I try to stay away from it, just because I was so deep into it, and I don't know, like it freaks me out a little bit when we like mess with like, I don't know, your heart and things like that.
That freaks me out.
Yeah, to me, you're playing with fire. But in the moment, like you think you're bulletproof, and you're not thinking of things like that.
Yeah. So you said that it makes you exhausted. Mm-hmm. So you've had that from
from pre-workouts. Yeah, from like and I've used pre-workouts to, like you said, like turn it on. And it's I can almost compare it to, I don't know, maybe 20 podcasts ago or something like that. We kind of talked about like training from an angry place or from like a fun and enjoyable place. It was kind of similar. Like I would I'd put my music in like as loud as I could. I'd pick a very specific song. I would like, if I was deadlifting, like I would like shake the bar a couple times before I'd pull it. Like I might like do some grunts or something like that. Yeah. And, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, like that might be a good thing for some people who are maybe a little bit more on the passive side, but I'm already a pretty like anxious and wired person as it is, and I have been my whole life. So for me, it was like, I would get maybe like 2 good sets of deadlifts, and then I was out for the rest of the workout.
Yeah.
And I remember like I used to do like a power building approach where I would start my training with like a powerlifting style, like 3x3 on a compound or something like that. And so I would like, I would gas myself within like the first exercise, and then everything else would suck. And so like, if powerlifting was just my goal at that point, maybe it made sense, but it was just kind of like it was almost like I was using up all my gas within the first like 15 minutes of a training session, and the rest of it I was just dragging myself.
Yeah. And that's a horrible feeling, man.
And I think that's why the black coffee is a little bit better for me, is because, man, with a cup of black coffee, don't quote me on this, but you're doing anywhere from like 70 to 150 mgs of caffeine,
which is more than enough.
I think most so, and that's like it's like half of a pre-workout scoop. But for me, like because usually I'll like drink half before a workout, and then I'll be sipping on the other half the first like half of the workout. And I found that it's just a more stable, like not as many highs, not as many lows, like a straight ride through. And what I've also found is, like, not to sound too corny, but it's made me a lot, I'm going to say a lot more mentally tough, just being able to turn it on my own without needing that. Like,
I think that's so true, man. Seriously.
Like yesterday, man, I was training back, and, it was a Friday. I work from home on Fridays, and we were supposed to podcast, but I canceled on you. And, man, I was just kind of like moving slow. I was supposed to start lifting at like 8. I didn't start lifting until like 8:45, and I was just kind of moving at my own pace, and I was kind of playing on my phone like before sets. Like I just kind of wasn't there,
Yeah.
But once I kind of put the phone down and I just kind of started sipping my coffee, and I just took a second, like I was able to turn it on my own, and my back is wrecked in the best way possible.
Nice.
It was a great session, and I found that, like, whenever you're not so reliant on those things and you're able to turn it on your own, you're able to get there on your own. It's a lot more empowering and less exhausting, and I almost look at it like a skill. Like it's something that you need to practice and do over and over again. And there's always going to be training sessions where, like, maybe your energy's not there, you feel weak, or just a bad day, or something hurts. Those things always happen. But in those case scenarios where you just don't feel like it, there's always a way to turn it on, man. Whether that's like using a little bit of music, sipping on some black coffee or something, or just focusing and dialing it in for yourself,
Yeah, if you know those, the things that'll get you, to refocus or to redial in, that is definitely like a skill. Yeah. And when it comes to like you being able to dial in or focus all on your own, like, without coffee or without all of these external things, dude, I feel like that's a ability. Yeah, like
I think so. And I'm not all the way there yet, because there's still, like, the music I listen to isn't as angry or as heavy, but it's still like, a rap song with a good beat or something like that, or like, it's not pre-workout, but it's black coffee, or what I mean. It's not.
So you're like backing off.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
maybe not all the way, but
I'm not necessarily like opposed to using tools to get yourself in there, but it's like
it helps.
If I'm let's say like I'm on vacation and it's the middle of the day and I got an hour to blow. Well, I want to go work out, and I want to be able to work out. You know what I mean? I don't want to feel like, well, I don't have my headphones, and I don't have, my pre-workout, or I don't have my lifting straps or my belt, or, you know what I mean? And I've kind of always felt that way, though. Like I was real hesitant to like a lifting belt for a long time. And then I haven't used one in like 5-6 years now. 'Cause I don't know. There's something about, and maybe it's a pride point for me, but there's something about like being able to do it on your own.
Yeah. I mean, while I was powerlifting, there would have been no fucking way that I would have lifted without a belt, or, done back day without straps, things like that. And now I am. And it definitely feels way better, because I'm no longer like locked into working out. Yeah. Until
you're not a slave to it.
To having to do it a certain way. Yeah. Now it's, I'm just doing what I want to do, and again, makes it more enjoyable so that I can, work harder, and at the end of the day, move closer to where I want to, be with this stuff. So I like it, man. I really do.
For sure. Well, I wanted to go a little bit more into pre and post workout nutrition, so let me try to circle back and at least put some numbers to that. So as far as like pre workout nutrition goes, you heard what I do specifically, which is if I'm on an empty stomach, I'm going to go with a liquid IV. I'm going to go with 10 grams of essential amino acids, 10 grams of glutamine, and 5 grams of creatine. If you're really that interested, I just literally buy each individual supplement on Amazon. It's super cheap, and then mix them up.
Bulk supplements.
And then, that's exactly what I use, man, off of Amazon. Yeah, they're super cheap. It's the best way to go. And then post, I always go with the cleanest, leanest protein I can get, which for me is literally chicken breast. And that's just because there's no fats, there's no BS, and I just digest it easily, and I go with the white rice. These days I'm doing like 2 cups of white rice post-workout, but that's only if you're trying to grow. If you're someone who's trying to, lose fat or grow a little bit, but you're not eating everything under the sun, maybe you go with, 25 to 50 grams of carbs post-workout. And that could even be, a shake, or that could be a banana or something like that. And I also think that your protein, you want to get at least probably closer to 30 to 50 grams of protein post-workout. If we're talking about being optimal. So there's some numbers to that. You got anything else on that, or you want to move to some questions?
No, let's go ahead and move to some questions.
Grab my phone.
Cool.
My arms can't seem to grow. Any advice? Question mark? Exclamation mark? Your arms can't grow. We can't be having pea shooters out here, bro. We need 22-inch cannons.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
Frequency.
Yeah, frequency, but
Big butt.
big old butt. In my opinion, you always start with the how and the quality of each individual rep. And maybe even before that, you start with your exercise selection. So there's certain exercises, trying to think of maybe some that come to mind. So there's certain exercises that people try to force themselves into. We've talked about like barbell back squat or barbell bench press before, but for arms, some of those common ones are like a straight bar curl,
Maybe
or
a hammer
like
curl.
or like a close grip bench press. Like those are some of the ones that people try to force themselves into, and in my opinion, don't necessarily work for everybody. So first of all, take a look at your exercise selection. When we're going with arms and the hinge joint that is the elbow, we typically want to be going with either dumbbells or cables due to the freedom at the joints. If you're going with a straight bar, you're probably not going to fit it unless you have a very specific structure. So starting with exercise selection, you're going to want to have an exercise that you can load in the mid to lengthened range, which is a fancy way of saying where your muscle is the strongest. So if we're going to talk about curls, I'm going to go ahead and just pick the simplest, easiest one, which will be an incline dumbbell curl. So you want to set your bench up at a nice high incline, maybe like a 75-degree incline, lean all the way back, pin your shoulder blades down and back, pinch your elbows in, and curl it up. It's surely somewhere on the Progress Through Change Instagram. If you want to talk about triceps, we're probably going to be looking at like a dumbbell skull crusher or a rope overhead extension, something with your elbow lifted off your body. People tend to default to rope pushdowns. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's training the tricep in the shortened position, and you're totally missing your long head and some of the other beef that comes around your tricep. Another quick thing that comes to mind with arms is you probably want to focus a little bit more on triceps than biceps because they take up more surface area of your arms. That's why Chris's arms are so big, because he's got a big bench. Like Chris said, frequency as well. Your biceps and triceps are smaller muscle groups, so theoretically they can recover quicker. In my opinion, you can go anywhere from like 3 to 4 times a week depending on how you're managing your volume. I personally do 2 sets of biceps and 2 sets of triceps at the end of each push-pull session, and I have a dedicated arm day. So, but that's like a full 6-day bodybuilding split. So depending on how you break that down, I'm basically going push-pull legs, push-pull arms. So that's 3 times a week for biceps and triceps on me personally. Your ability to develop any muscle on your upper body is going to be dictated by your ability to stabilize your scapula. So get really good at keeping your shoulder blades locked down and back, no matter where you are. That's with arm training. If we're talking about back or chest, maybe there's a different position for that scapula, but you need to be able to pull your shoulder blades into one position and keep them there throughout your entire set to ensure that we're not shrugging or rolling through those motions. If you're doing skull crushers, triceps only, not shoulders, not serratus anterior. If we're doing, incline dumbbell curls, biceps only, not front delt, not pecs, none of that. You should feel the specific targeted muscle. All right, I'm gonna stop there because I could just fire these all day, but we'll go with that. What do you got?
So I'm not going to be as scientific. I agree with everything you're saying. And one of the biggest things that you taught me, besides this, keeping the scapula in place while doing these upper body or, improving your arm workouts, is to keep your elbows in one position too. Mm-hmm. So like, on tricep pull downs, one thing that I would do is, maybe like I would go like this. So if you see my elbows
lift
are
the elbow and then pull the elbow down.
Exactly.
As you extend,
So that's a whole lot of other things,
well.
including my triceps,
rear delts. Yeah.
Exactly. And I remember as soon as I made that change, oh my goodness, like I felt it all in my triceps.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I would do on, triceps or biceps, or really anything, including like shoulder raises, is I would make sure that I know where I want my elbows to be locked in, mm-hmm. and then perform the exercise after I've decided where I want my elbows to be locked in. Mm-hmm. So like on tricep pull downs or push downs or whatever, or, the overhead tricep extensions, I would give myself room to where my elbows can be in a comfortable position for the whole set. Yep. And keep it there. Make sure to prioritize keeping that there over like the weight that I'm using or something like that. And same with bicep curls. If I'm doing bicep curls, maybe I'll have to like lean forward a little bit to get my elbows out there, mm-hmm. so that I can fully extend my arms. Yep. Yeah. When, before, if I was right here, maybe on the way down, I'd have to like pull down, and then on the way stretch up, I'd have to. Yeah, exactly. So that was a huge impact on my arm workouts.
Yeah, and exactly how you said, like your elbow should be pinched in the same spot the entire time, mm-hmm. unless you're doing some kind of pressing movement for triceps or pull-up movement for biceps, specifically. Another big thing too, I think, is arms tend to be something that can get slapped on at the end for some people. Like if you're on a push-pull leg split, you're probably going like chest, then shoulders, then triceps at the end. You could always, there's no rules to that. You could put your triceps earlier. You could put your biceps earlier. Like, mm-hmm. in my opinion, whatever your priority is should be the start of each workout. So both of my push workouts right now start with shoulders, not chest. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big point to be had as well. Like that's a common thing with calves as well. Like guys will talk about not being able to grow their calves, and it's because they do fucking 2 bodyweight sets at the end of like 20 sets of legs when they're gassed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so if it's a focus, make it a focus. If it's a priority, mm-hmm. make it a priority. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, man, let's wrap this one there.
Cool beans.
Cool. Thank y'all for listening. We out.
We out.
Bye-bye.